Thank you so very much for being patient. I was cooking, forgot I had spaghetti on. I had to go and check on it. But anyway, we had this big, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful world. And everybody and everything in it, it seems to be geared toward negativeness. It's geared towards putting a power on the throne of humankind. A power that can consider itself as being God because it has all authority on earth. It has all knowledge about everything that's happening because they got cameras on everybody. They got everything bugged. They got everybody telling everything about themselves. They got everything chipped in, so they're controlling each and every move you make as God and using you for whatever benefits they might want to use you. And when they don't have any need for you, then rid you of. And now that is the goal, it seems, that we are headed toward. And at the same time, if we wanted to miss all of this, to get away from that, as we had to die to get here, we got to die to get out of here. Now, there are a lot of good people in the world. I don't want anybody to think that when I start talking, that I'm trying to say everybody's demonic, even though we are. But they are wonderful people. People who are doing everything they possibly can to their best ability and understanding to serve God to the fullest. And that's great. That's absolutely great. And we have to go continuously through the process until we are one with God. And look, to give you an example, in the Bible they say, here are the signs. They have these particular signs that will give you indication that they had been blessed by the powers that be. And the things that hang in my mind most that I know that you would be familiar with, they say they would lay hand on the sick and they would recover. How many times you see people laying hands on the folk in the name of God? How many times have you seen anybody recover? No, they said Jesus did it and people just recovered and they were out testifying. Woo, he did his hands on me and I recovered. But how many times do you hear people, see people? They said you can go and they would pray for you. You get well. How many times you see people praying for this and praying for that? Because they said, ask, how many times you see these things happening and nothing happens? And you keep on pretending like it does, you know? You take that and you compare that with saying that Santa Claus exists. And every year from your inception upon this planet till you die, he's still walking around. Talking about Santa Claus is coming, you better watch out. And you start getting those gifts and stuff just like, and even when you found out that Santa Claus was nothing but a fake, you begin to continue it and begin to teach your children when you knew it was a lie. But it was a partying lie. And so it almost seems that when we come down to God, see the difference about God is that God is invisible. And we know that God is invisible. Now, the other side is invisible as well. But it has a force here on earth that's pushing it all the way. It started from the lie where they said you would not surely die. And they've been pushing it all the way. Their aim has always been to conquer humankind. To conquer humankind. And be Lord. And that's understandable. They're here. Now, we could have prevented that if we had came on this scene and did what was right. But we didn't. So, in other words, there's another place for that which is right. But in order to get to there which is right, you got to be knowing what is right. And you got to plant the seed for what is right. In other words, you're going to stand up for the truth in the situation that you face in life. If it hurts you to know that people are hungry and can't eat in a society where all of the necessary requirements to feed every human being on the face of the earth is present, and anyone who's led by the Spirit of God knows that, and they sit on their butts talking about I can't make a difference, and they allow that and walk around fussing amongst themselves and with their friends talking about what somebody else is doing. What are you doing? You sitting back and allowing it to happen. Get up by the power of God and stand up. Tell the world that this is God's world. All of the abilities to grow food, all of the abilities to get it out and get it ready and distribute it, it comes from God. And the power in the mind that uses itself to complete the picture all come from God. And it is our duty, it is our responsibility as knowing this to make sure that nobody's ever hungry, to make sure that nobody's ever homeless, to make sure that no one is ever closeless, sure that no one is ever without the necessary education to be the best that they can be, to make sure that no one is ever without health care from the womb to the tomb, and knowing that every need, every desire, every want can be met because every human being on the face of the earth can have the career of their own choosing, and those careers are the tools and avenues whereby these goods and services, I repeat, are made. And it doesn't cost one penny. And everybody's thrilled because they are doing exactly what they want to do. And what they want to do is working in such a way that everybody's somebody and important. They recognize not more or less, but important. And as that, they get a chance to walk around as somebody. And who are they? They are the expressions of almighty truth and love. Not the one on the other side talking about, I'm going to kill you. My world. No, this is God's world. See, in God's world, it's about the people. It's about everybody being satisfied. It's about everybody putting of themselves in the support that everybody. On the other side, it's about selfishness. I get mine. You get yours, and I'm willing to lie and cheat and steal. And not only that, I'm willing to kill. Whew. I'm willing to kill to get what I want. That's the side of the world. That's the side of the world. That is why, here's an expression. Look, listen to this. You got this big, beautiful world. And all of the resources in it. And you know what they are. You got an imagination. And everybody is standing on the outside. Because right now they're on the outside. Nobody's inside of the world. They're all outside the world. And so what they come in, all come around at the same time. They wrapped around the world. And they step into the world at the same time. And everybody got this selfish attitude, right? About taking from the world what they need. And everybody is going, they don't know what's going on, so everybody's going against one another because they're all standing for self. And so what they do is that they rip and tear up the earth. You ever gone to somebody's house, they don't know how to keep trash right? The trash running all up the wall in the bathroom, papers everywhere, clothes everywhere. You ever seen how chaotic that looks? Well, that's the way the world looks when people go like that. But now and then, people try to come together and say, well, let's fix this mess because this can't continue. And you got people coming up with kind of ways of how to fix this thing. But everybody's way always makes somebody special. Somebody who, for some strange reason, is able to manipulate the thing because they're playing a major role in the process, or they got a louder mouth and talk louder. Or some people call them alpha males. I don't call them that. I call them greedy people. Well, they can do their thing, right? And the next thing you know, they are constructing and creating situations within that structure that allows certain things to happen that takes away from the peace and the prosperity and the joy. And now you got these people still greedy at every level trying to outdo. Over here, it's about one thing. It's about the power, and we being the result of the power. And the power made the tree that is able to sustain any kind of stuff except a major storm. This power the sun, the moon, and all the heavenly bodies, and all that stuff we can't even imagine. The power is still in the process. The power. And here we are, by the power. And that power must have rules that is very, very evident in the sustainability of truth. In other words, what I'm trying to say to you is this. When you believe something, it's one way. But when you know something, it's another way. When we talk about religion in the world, not just America, it's based upon belief. People don't really know. You got people who are doing all kinds of things. I mean, they're doing some things that look to be real bold and admirable, and some things just seem to be like, ooh, the devil had to do it himself. All these kinds of things are happening, and people feel justified in doing it. So, but the kind of, because that's not working. It's working for one person. But the kind of thing that works for everybody is the kind of thing that people seem to resist. And they seem to resist it because the powers of the world have always put over people death. You know, you got all kind of stuff before death. You know, you got jail and try to belittle people and messing with you with the taxes and all those kinds of things. But ultimately, if they have to, they would take your life and take your family's life and all that kind of stuff just to control you. That tells you you're living in hell. But that doesn't matter, you know you're living in hell. In order for you to do what you have to do, you have to be free. And to be free must means that you got to have an interrelationship with the truth. The truth will set you free. And what is that truth that sets you free? That truth that sets you free is that this is everlasting, that life is everlasting, that here's your challenge. Here is the challenge of life, is to know the truth. That means to stand up for what is right or to give in to what is wrong. That's the end of life. Give in to what is wrong, that's the end of life. Do what's right, they can't kill you. They just don't do nothing but move you on way to the beautiful, more beautiful place. The challenge of life is always do what's right or just go along. That's the challenge. That just came to me, ladies and gentlemen. I guess I might have said it before, but it just came to me just then. Let me repeat it again. The challenge of life, when we start talking about Adam and Eve, when we start talking about the devil, the snake talking to Eve and getting Eve to go a certain way, and then Eve's doing, and then she going talking Adam in to go a certain way, and we talk about how that shouldn't have happened. But what that was a metaphor just to let us know they represented what was happening. And it's the same thing that's happening today. Each of us have that same Adam and Eve experience in our challenges of life each and every day. Each and every day we're challenged with the right way, the most expedient way, and the way to get it done, or the way to get something. Or we'll have all these challenges. That's the Adam and Eve situation. What do we do? One says, well, you know that. That's why we're all doing that. The other one says, do what's right. But here's the thing that blows our mind. We do what's right because we heard somebody say it. We want to do something, but we're not there. We're not there. I mean, we're not born again. Yeah, that's it. We're not born again, because if we're born again, we know why we're doing it. We're glad we're doing it. We're glad we're doing it. Why? Because we know that it's right. And we know that life continues and there's no fear. We know that people over here does what they do because they are fearful. They don't want to die. They think they die. They're old, they're scared. They woo. They go through hell. They go to all these jobs that they don't like. They work every day and they're tired and wore down. Don't get a chance to have any real living. But they do it because this is the way of the world. They don't know. that they can stand on the other side and say, I'm not going that route, I'm going the route of what's right. And that means basically whatever system we got going over here that's denying the peace, that's denying the prosperity, that's denying God's way, we represent against it. And how do we represent against it? By challenging it and resisting it, not picking up any flags and stuff trying to start nothing. We ain't trying to start nothing, we just resisting. Trying to talk other people into resisting and trying to educate folks about what's going on, to resist it, to resist it, to resist it. Why? Because that's the way it got to be. We ain't going for it. It's wrong. God ain't going for it. Our Maker ain't going for it. And we are the evidence that it ain't going to be accepted here. Now, if you don't like it, kill us. See? That's it. We're not scared. We're not bound by the fear of death. We know that death here for these kinds of reasons is just a stepping stone right out in the twinkling of an eye. You never know you had it, but you don't miss this. You just are beyond this, and it seems wherever you're at, you've been there all the time. Now, I'm going to leave it there. I didn't mean to talk this long. It must have got good to me. Bye-bye.